Let's talk about the best character arcs that have made fantasy novels like Lord of the Rings, Mistborn, and The Assassin's Apprentice absolutely unforgettable. And I'll show you exactly how to use them in your own story. Now, a lot of new writers tend to think that character arcs are just about changing your character's personality, but that's like saying that a butterfly's transformation is just about them getting wings. The real magic happens underneath the surface, in the fundamental beliefs that drive every decision your character makes. If you're new here, my name is Brianna and I post videos every Sunday that help you become a better writer. I also make easy to use writing workbooks on my Etsy shop, so if you want an affordable way to outline and build your fantasy, romantasy, or sci-fi novel, or if you want to write your best protagonist or antagonist yet, check out my workbooks in the link in the description below. And like the video and hit subscribe to see more content like this. Today we'll go over 5 powerful character arcs in fantasy literature, why they work so brilliantly, mistakes writers make with each one, and how to build them into your own story so that readers become absolutely obsessed with your characters. Before we jump into the specific arcs though, what is a character arc? A character arc is the internal transformation or deliberate lack of transformation that occurs when a character's core beliefs are challenged throughout the story. It's not about what happens to your character, it's about how your character changes or refuses to change because of what happens. The goal of a character arc is to create a bridge between your reader and your character's emotional journey. When done right, readers will also experience the character's struggle to grow, resist change, or inspire others. That emotional connection is what turns casual readers into diehard fans. Frodo Baggins doesn't just carry the ring to Mordor. He transforms from an innocent hobbit to someone who understands the weight of sacrifice. Kaladin Stormblessed doesn't just learn to fight again. He battles his own depression and learns to find hope again. Fitz from Robin Hobb's Assassin series doesn't just survive court intrigue. He grapples with loyalty, love, and what it means to belong. That said, now let's get into the 5 character arcs that can make your novel super powerful. The Mentor's Burden arc is one of the most powerful but often overlooked character arcs in fantasy that twist the traditional mentor-student dynamic a little bit. Instead of the mentor simply acting as a guide to the student, which is usually a main character, this arc offers a closer lens into the mentor themselves to show how they must learn to let go and trust their legacy to somebody else. In this arc, your character is an experienced, powerful figure who starts the story believing they must control everything to protect what they love. Their journey involves learning that true strength comes from empowering others, even if it means risking everything they've built. A great example here would be Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He begins as a powerful general who believes in strength through conquest, but after losing his son, he learns that true strength comes from guiding others with wisdom and love. His relationship with Zuko becomes the vessel for his transformation from controlling mentor to supportive guide. The key to this arc though is not making the mentor too perfect from the start. Mentor characters need their own flaws and growth. They should struggle with letting go of control and trusting their protege to make their own mistakes. Any scenes involving them should incorporate this in some way. Start with a mentor who failed spectacularly in the past. Maybe they lost a previous student or their methods caused harm. They're terrified of failing again, so now they try to control every aspect of their new student's journey. Their arc would be them learning to guide the new student without controlling them, to teach without dictating them. Maybe the mentor can only pass on their powers by being unalived or sacrificing something dear to them. In Robin Hobb's Live Ship Traders, the ship bonds require the mentor figures to literally become part of the ships that they serve, so they give up their human form for the greater good. Now, it's pretty common to remove the mentor figure from the story in some way, either by making them move far away or by unaliving them, which allows the student to figure things out on their own without them. You can still do this with this arc, but you ideally want to complete the arc before taking them out. You can do this by showing a moment where the mentor chooses to step back, or they see the fruits of their sacrifice, or maybe even finds peace in their student's growth. This moment can be a whole chapter, or it can be as fleeting as a simple line of dialogue. But I personally feel that this specific arc is at its best when it's complete and not left unresolved. The Legacy Heir arc is all about a character who inherits a mantle, power, or responsibility that they never wanted, and they must decide whether to honor the legacy or forge their own path. This arc is much more common in fantasy, but I personally love it. Now, a lot of traditional heroic arcs are usually where the character chooses their destiny, but legacy heirs have destiny thrust upon them. Their journey involves grappling with the weight of expectations and learning what it means to be worthy of the inheritance. In Harry Potter, Neville Longbottom is the heir to his parents' legacy. These were heroic parents who were tortured into madness for defying Voldemort. For most of the series, he struggles with feeling unworthy of their sacrifice. His arc culminates when he realizes that he doesn't need to be his parents. He can honor their legacy by being brave in his own way. Don't make this arc all about living up to expectations though. Legacy arcs are about the character defining what the legacy means to them, not just copying what came before. Let's say your character starts overwhelmed by their inheritance. Whether it's magical powers, a throne, a prophetic destiny, they spend the first part of the story trying to be exactly like their predecessor and failing miserably. The transformation happens when they realize they need to make the legacy their own through their own core values, personality, and choices that are true to who they are. I feel like Marvel's Thor and his hammer Mjolnir is a good example of this. Mjolnir is a physical representation of the legacy of Asgardian royalty and responsibility, and Thor can't use it unless he's worthy. His arrogance and recklessness makes him unable to lift it until he learns humility and self-sacrifice. One tip to make this arc even stronger is to avoid making the original legacy holder perfect. No one is perfect, but history is written by winners who want to make themselves look perfect. So show this juxtaposition between legacy and reality. Your legacy arc should reveal flaws in what came before, and this will allow the new heir to actually improve upon the tradition or legacy or whatever it is they're assuming, rather than just maintaining it. The Guardian Sacrificed arc is a devastating character arc, where a character sworn to protect something, a person, place, or object, must choose between their duty and their personal desires, and ultimately discovering that true guardianship sometimes requires the ultimate sacrifice. The Guardian doesn't start the story wanting to be unalived. They begin believing that they can have both duty and their happiness. The arc breaks them down until they realize that their sworn purpose requires them giving up everything they personally want. Now, this doesn't have to mean giving up their life. In A Song of Ice and Fire, Samwell Tarly starts as a coward who takes the black to avoid his father's violence. But as he grows into his role as a brother of the Night's Watch, he realizes that protecting the realm means accepting that he'll never have a normal life, he'll never marry Gilly officially, he'll never have the family he dreams of. His sacrifice is accepting a life of duty. If you're writing this arc though, don't make the choice too noble or obvious from the start. Show your Guardian character desperately trying to find a way to have both their duty and their desires. Even let them succeed a bit, because that will make their eventual sacrifice that much more heartbreaking. Let's say your Guardian starts believing they can protect their personal charge while still pursuing personal happiness. Maybe every attempt to balance duty and desire fails, often putting their charge in more and more danger. Or maybe they're actually able to balance both until something catastrophic happens. Then the climax forces them to choose permanently between their personal fulfillment and their sworn purpose. Whichever route you decide to go here, don't make the sacrifice feel pointless. The Guardian's choice should genuinely save or protect what they're sworn to guard, and the aftermath should show the positive consequences of their sacrifice in the wake of their emotional distraught. The Awakening arc or Disillusionment arc is quite a psychologically complex arc in fantasy, and is rarely done well because it's tricky to execute properly. In a Disillusionment arc, your character discovers that their positive beliefs about the world are wrong, and the truth is devastating, either physically, emotionally, spiritually, or altogether. Unlike a positive change arc where learning the truth is uplifting, here the truth destroys everything they thought they knew. It breaks them down to their core, and they must rebuild a new perspective on the world after the fact. A character who believes their kingdom is just and good discovers that it's actually built on genocide and slavery. The truth sets them free, but it also destroys their sense of identity and purpose. One mistake writers can make with this arc, though, is confusing disillusionment with simple cynicism, which therefore makes the disillusionment feel minute and small. It's not about a character learning that people suck. It's about a character learning that their specific, cherished beliefs, the truths that they believed that built who they are, were lies. Now, when you're writing this arc, the truth that your character discovers should be both freeing and personally devastating. In Live Ship Traders, characters who worship their living ships discover that these vessels are actually enslaved dragons. The truth is liberating for the dragons, but psychologically destructive for the humans who built their entire culture around this system. To complete this arc, don't end it in complete despair. Disillusionment arc should show the character learning to build something new from the shattered remains of their previous beliefs. If you end the book without showing that process of rebuilding, even if it's just a small passing line at the end, then this arc becomes a fall arc rather than an awakening. The last arc I'm going to talk about is the redemption arc, which involves a fall and a recovery. I love this arc, but it's probably one of the most difficult to execute because it requires 2 complete transformations. In a redemption arc, your character finds themselves in a dark place, falls even further due to their flaws, and then finds the strength to climb back up toward the light. It's about someone who had good in them, lost it, and then fought to reclaim it. The gold standard here is Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He starts desperate for his father's approval, he betrays his own uncle and his moral instincts to get it, realizes this path leads nowhere, and then actively chooses to rebuild himself around better principles. When writing this arc, don't skip the fall part. Don't create characters who are kind of bad but then become good. Real redemption requires a moment where the character chooses evil despite knowing better and then actively works to atone for it. On the other hand, don't make the forgiveness aspect too easy either. Redemption should cost something. The character should have to prove their change through sustained action and commitment, not just one-off choices and good intentions. Let's say your character starts with both good and bad impulses. Their flaws lead them to make increasingly destructive choices until they hit rock bottom, and usually hurting someone that they love. So the redemption begins when they take responsibility and actively work to rebuild what they've destroyed. In fantasy, you can externalize this transformation through magic. Maybe your character's use of dark magic physically corrupts them, and their redemption arc involves not just a change of heart, but their body physically healing with each good act. For example, in Sanderson's Stormlight Archive, a character's internal transformation manifests as visible glowing when they speak their redemptive oaths. So yeah, that's what I've got for you today. Your character arcs are what make up the backbone of your story, so choose them well. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you might want to watch this one next about the worst fantasy character arc mistakes to avoid. And tell me in the comments below what your favorite character arc is. Don't forget to subscribe to become a better writer, and I'll see you in the next chapter.